Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration, the Power is Within podcast. Tonight we have a special guest, Rob from Command Your Confidence. And our panel tonight, let's bring Rob on. Go ahead and bring Rob on.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh no, we can't hear him again.
Oh no, you can't hear me? Oh no.
Hang on, Rob. We thought we
you'll
had
get
it
it.
working. Really, we did.
We'll get you going on here.
Jeez, we just tested and it worked fine.
Yeah, it happens.
Oh, we can hear him. We can hear him.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We
All right,
fixed it
great.
just like that. Rock and roll.
This is our second try. We tried to do this last weekend or the weekend before, and we couldn't get it. So I'll introduce you here. This is Frank, my son.
Hey, how you doing?
17.
Henry, I'm 18.
Claude, I'm
Let's go.
20. I'm Brado, I'm 15.
This one don't belong to me. He's a neighbor kid. So
Oh, okay.
he's over here all the time. So.
He's adopted.
So we're glad to have you tonight, Rob. I appreciate you taking time out. I know you got a tight schedule, but we're going to go ahead and go on. We'd like to know
Awesome. Glad to be here. Thank you very
I know
much
that
for having me on.
Yeah, I know that you mostly try to help men. What do you actually do for? What is your forte with men? How do you help men?
Well, I was actually about almost like 5 years ago, I started like on self-development journey for myself, and I just kind of worked with a lot of mentors to help me work on my confidence, kind of work on my goals and my mindset, my fitness with women and stuff like that. So I started a channel called Command Your Confidence, and that's what it's all about. It's just kind of helping guys. I'm just telling them, sharing with them some of my experiences and everything, and helping them move through some of the sticking points that they're having in their life when it comes to like women, their mindset, dating, and all that other fun stuff.
Yeah. Tell me, when was the moment when you thought you hit a bottom and you thought, man, I got to do something. I feel like crap. I don't feel like I have any confidence at all. I just, man, it's like that breaking point when you decide I'm going to do something about this. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of feeling like I'm not enough, or I have no confidence.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because again, going back to 5 years ago, and I came out here to Arizona from Michigan and everything. I came out with a girl I met and everything, and we lived together for about 4 months after realizing shit wasn't gonna work out. And when we decided to ride the lease up, and then I was out on my own and everything, and it was kind of tough because I for 35 years of my life I kind of I lived at home with my mom and everything. I've never had any experience with like being on my own.
Right.
And and one of the things I really wanted to work on was becoming more confident when talking to women and stuff, because like I just for the fact that I didn't have that much experience from like kind of living at home, and I didn't really date too much, and so I just got super frustrated. And I watched a lot of content on YouTube and everything, and that was helping a bit, but it wasn't really doing it for me. So I just decided, I went on Google one day and Googled like men's confidence coach, and so I just looked around for a bunch of confidence coaches, and I found this one guy in Vancouver, and he helped me out with a lot of that as far as like being able to have conversations with women, work on mindset, and dealing with like sticking points. And I had another mentor I was working with at the time too, and he was more of helping me out with like my business stuff, but we did tackle some stuff with my mindset as well. So when I worked with the two mentors and everything, it really pushed me to break out of my comfort zone and really kind of change some of the belief systems I had about myself and others. Like, I don't know, but one of the things I'd have to say when I first came out here, like I left all my friends behind back in Arizona, so I didn't really know too many people. And I was a social person, but yet I still kind of didn't want to be in front of groups of people. And
Right.
one of my mentors just like pushed me to like go to like these meetup events. So what meetup events are, they had, pretty much they have events for like, hanging out at bars, going out to eat, and a bunch of other stuff. And so I started going to those, and I met a lot of people there. And when the pandemic started, like they closed down all the meetup groups pretty much, and then I just
Right.
started my own meetup group, and,
There you go.
it's really cool. And like I met a lot of cool people and was able to network through that. But but a lot of that stuff too, there was all like challenges I had to face with my mindset and just taking action. And I'm glad I did it, because I see if I wouldn't have done it, I wouldn't be in the same area I am in my life right now. I'm a totally different person. And
Right.
even though I'm got some of the things that I want, succeeded with women, made some money with my side hustle and stuff like that, I still am working on challenges in those areas today. And,
Right.
it's a constant growth experience.
You mentioned the comfort zone. Yeah, it's a constant growth experience if you constantly get out of your comfort zone. You mentioned the comfort zone. Because it's hard to break out of that because it's comfortable.
Yeah, right.
How did you get yourself? Was it when you got the mentor, the coach from Vancouver, that he helped you get out, or how did you motivate
Well,
yourself to step into the discomfort?
it was pretty pricey to work with the mentors. So I'm like, if I'm putting down
You
like a
better
lot
be
of
doing
money, like
something. Yeah.
it was really expensive. So I'm like, if I'm putting the money to work with the mentor, I got to go do the work and everything.
Yeah, that's good self motivator.
Yeah, exactly. But still, I face, even though I was doing the work, like every week he would give me like different challenges that I would have to face. And so I had to go out there and do these challenges. And like, I remember one of the challenges that he wanted me to do, he wanted me to go into like a Victoria's Secret or a makeup store and
Oh
just
yeah.
talk to women in makeup stores. I'm like, it took me a while to do it. But when I finally went into a Victoria's Secret one day at the mall, and I realized by doing that, it wasn't that bad. But it's weird because like your mind, like it conjures up all this
Exactly.
bullshit and everything. I think that's what holds you back, and you got to just realize that like you got to challenge yourself and test that out for yourself to see if that's true.
Really, if you have to step through your fear. The only difference between, I always say this, between a hero and a coward is they're both afraid, but the hero he confronts his fear and steps through it. And it sounds like that's what you did. And actually, too, I've learned, as I'm sure you know, by helping other people have more confidence, it actually instills that much more in you also. You
Mm-hmm.
gain by
Right.
giving out. So, yeah, it's good that you started. Really, some of the most, how do I say, some of the better teachers or mentors or people that help other people are ones that actually have started from nothing and didn't have anything. Like you didn't have any confidence and you've learned it. So you can relate to somebody, I suppose, that just doesn't, he's afraid to go out of the house. He doesn't know how to talk to people. He doesn't have, if he sees a girl, he's scared to death to talk to her. So you can understand where that guy's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
helps you.
correct.
Yeah.
And and it's sad because like I do come, I host these meetup events and everything. I mean, and there's some guys who go to these events who don't have no social skills at all. Like, I remember this one guy. He would show up, and like we had like probably 35 people at this event, but this guy sat at a table by himself the
Oh,
entire
man.
night. And being a host, I got to make sure everyone's having
Right.
fun. And so I went up to him. I'm like, dude, why are you hanging out over here by yourself? They got lots of people over there. Yeah, he's like, oh, I don't know, just kind of just take it easy, but go. No one's gonna bite or anything. Just say hi. Start by saying hi and ask like a simple, hey, what do you do? For a
Right.
living. You don't have to really do much. So yeah, I actually gave him so I grabbed some of the other members just to kind of socialize with him and everything, get him up and running. And I gave him the link to my channel. I had did this video on how to be more social and everything. It was weird because like I saw this guy, maybe he came to another one of my events probably like a couple of weeks later, and he was very chatty and everything, which was so I kind of felt like just by letting him know it's okay to do this and giving him some social pointers that helped him out a bit.
Right. Yeah, it's a great satisfaction when you give somebody some advice and you see them use it, and then the benefits and how they excel or how their life improves. It really makes a person feel good. What would you say are some of the main? Let's say a guy called you up, and there's a lot of them out there because I've talked to some, and they said, "Well, I have social anxiety. I don't know how to meet girls." How would you advise him to start off? He's been sitting in his house behind his computer. He really doesn't know how to interact with people.
Right. Well, one of the exercises that my first mentor had me do a lot, because yeah, I mean, I could like go to a bar and have some alcohol and somewhat be social with a girl, but
Makes
it's
it a
just
little
like,
easier. The social
yeah, right.
lubricant. Yeah.
But like during the day though, like it was very difficult because I was just like, constantly in my head and stuff. And even when I find myself getting in my head too, because I got a lot of shit that goes on like during the day too, so it kind of keeps me distracted. But I just learned to like just say hi to everyone, just say good, how you
That's
doing,
exactly what
build
I
that
tell people.
momentum. And so I advise guys to do that, and then especially when it comes to women, pretty much the same thing. Say hi, and do that, and then challenge yourself to do something more. Like say, oh, give the girl a compliment. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, after give girls compliments, ask a question like I meant like a simple question like my mentor had me do. I don't really use this that much anymore. But I just asked the girl like I did like an observational opener. So if I noticed something in the environment, I'd have a conversation about that. Or I would just ask a girl, I give her a direct compliment and say, I was, for instance, I tell her like, hey, I was just minding my own business, and I just happened to see you and you caught my eye, and my name's Rob. What's your name?
Yeah.
And
Pretty
then
simple. People don't know what to say. Really, all you have to do is go up and say hello.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
that easy. But people are so afraid, guys are so afraid they won't know what to say. But if you listen to what she says or ask her a question, a simple question, not an interrogatory question, but maybe, are you going to get them bananas? They look a little green to me. Just anything, just to start a conversation. Like you said, you told them to go out and just say hi to everybody. And that's what you need to do, because if you wait until you see that girl that you think is the one, you don't have any practice. But if you talk to everybody, it'll be easier to talk to her. And how many times have you walked up and talked to somebody you didn't know and they said, hey, get the hell away from me? It's never happened to me.
You know what though? Like, I've only had they never said get the hell away with me, but they said I can't talk to you because you're a stranger. But that like rarely happens. Like,
Yeah.
if you go, you got when I first started out too, like, the fact that I wasn't used to it, like I had that nervous energy. But if you go
Yeah.
in there with the right energy and stuff, like you can actually, at least get a conversation going. And yeah, sometimes you'll get a number, sometimes you won't, sometimes you'll hear back from someone, sometimes you won't, but you just got to keep on pushing. Like
Yeah.
in my interactions, I'm right now, I'm really direct with what I want. Like I let the girl know that, hey, the reason why I'm here is because yeah, I want to, I thought you were sexy or some shit like that, and you're very cute. And
Exactly. Then you don't
yeah,
have to worry about escalating. I hear a lot of people say, how do I escalate? When I meet a girl, she knows right off the bat that I want to be with her physically. And
right,
that way you don't have to
exactly.
worry. Yeah, then there's
And
no, she knows it anyway, but
And that's something like I had to learn because I learned, during when I was first going out there, just because I have this like friendly attitude, I was coming off like as a friendly person and not kind of like letting the girl know. So she was like, well, I thought
exactly.
you just wanted to be friends, and that's why you got to like, be direct and say what's on your mind, because like it solves all that BS, and you kind of can tell if someone's going to waste your time or not.
Well, like you said, you went up and you were friendly. There's also a way you can go up and look at them and say words, the sub communication. I mean, maybe that's for someone later on when they get a little better at it, but I can talk to girls and make mention about certain things, and they know what I'm talking about. They know that I'm talking about being with them physically when I don't actually come right out and say it. Although there have been times when I came straight out and said it, depending on how the girl is and her reaction when you talk to her. You kind
Hmm.
of got to have, you can't just go up and start groping a girl or touching. I walked up to a girl the other night, and I knew the girl with her, and I didn't know this one, but I thought I might have met her sometime with the other one. So I walked up and I put my hand on the girl's shoulder I didn't know, and I asked the other girl, "Hey, is this the crazy one that you brought over to my house that night?" Well, it wasn't her, and then we
Hmm.
started the conversation. But you got to be careful how you touch people. But it's just the way, like you said, if you're comfortable with it, people don't pay any attention to it.
Yeah, well,
And
and one thing
it's
like
called chemo, I think.
I've realized too after just going having many interactions, is you begin to read body language, and you can tell like if someone is comfortable
Exactly.
with you there and doesn't want you there. So like that's something that comes with practice and experience. Like, 'cause I know if I go approach someone, I can just tell right off the back, based off the language and the tone of their voice, if they're interested in like have wanting to continue the conversation or not.
Yeah, and if you walk up to them and they back up a little bit, if you get within their space, I'm not sure what the the length is, it's a couple feet or something, and they back up, then that's usually not a sign that you want to pat them on the shoulder or do some
Right,
keno, it's called. But
exactly.
if they don't move and they seem warm and receptive, it's you touch them on the shoulder or something. You have to be careful with that here in the U.S. But it's not groping. It's just like you said, I don't do that to every girl I talk to, but it just depends on the body language, how things are, the setting, and everything like that. That's something anyone can learn to do. And like you said, when you become comfortable talking to everybody, it just comes natural. It wasn't like I thought, well, I'm going to walk up there and I'm going to put my hand on his shoulder. I just did it because it flowed with the situation. You have to stop thinking. Like you said, you get all this in your head. You see a girl and you think, man, I'd like to talk to her. Then you just need to shut this off and go. But we don't. What do we do sometimes? Man, she's probably got a girlfriend. I don't know, man. She's pretty fine. She's got to be here with all this crap in your head.
Well, the weird thing is, so sometimes though, like, and that's the thing, like, I think that's always going to be with you, and I learned just to accept, because, like, I actually thought, like, just, but even though you're going up and approaching the whole, like, anxiety stuff and thought shit goes away, that's something that still comes up, and that's, you got to just be able to accept that it's there and say, oh yeah, this always happens and stuff, because it's like it's just after like all that conditioning I've had, and I'm sure this happens with other guys too who even go out there, they still have kind of go back in their old habits and stuff. And you just gotta, like, I've learned lately just to kind of be aware of that. I'm like, I can't, like, okay, these thoughts always come up. So, like, I'm just gonna say, okay, I'm gonna go talk to this girl anyways,
Well, you're recognizing it, but you're not allowing it to control you anymore. The problem with some guys is they allow that to control them, to stop them. I don't know about you, but there have been times in my life where I wanted to approach somebody and I didn't do it and I felt like crap. And then other times when I went in and approached them, even though I had fear, and they might have turned me down or not given me the number, but I felt good because at least I faced. It wasn't about them. It was about me facing my fears and doing what I wanted to do.
Right, exactly. Well, and that's the whole thing, like, about this, like, you can't, like, because at first, I made everything about, yeah, I'm gonna get the chicks and stuff, but you got to really make it about yourself. When you make it about yourself, it makes it a lot easier, because you're just going out there and overcoming, like, a struggle that you've had, and that's just, when you go up and talk to a girl, even though it don't go work out, and when you're overcoming, you're breaking out of your comfort zone to do that, you can be like, well, hey, I'm doing this for me, to improve myself.
Right. Well, you showed up as a man. That's really all you're required to do. To feel good about yourself, you showed up. You didn't back down. You seen someone, you wanted to talk to them, and you walked up to them and you did. That's really, when you get the expectations of, I'm going to get her number and I'm going to get, that's when you really kind of bungle yourself. You just need to go up there and talk to her if that's what you want to do. Because as a man, you just need to show up. And women, as you know, a lot of times they won't approach you. I mean, it's rare, but they will put themselves in your vicinity to where you can talk to them. That's kind of how they'll give you signals, or they'll put themselves in your vicinity, walk past you, or kind of get near you so you can have the opportunity to talk to them.
Right.
Yeah,
so what are your guys' thoughts on all this that we've been talking about? I'm just kind of curious.
I've just been seeing what you guys were talking about. I'd like to take the knowledge in, because sometimes I get so used to being with a girl, and then you start getting comfortable and you start feeling lovey-dovey towards them. And then when I hear what you guys are talking about, it reinforces what I've learned, So.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you guys have been talking about that I never knew about. So, like, I like the fact that I'm learning new stuff right now.
There's a few things I haven't heard about. What was it? Keno, right?
Keno is when you, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
When you want to put your hand on
lately,
or it could be on their hand, but you never want to stay away from that.
Yeah, lately I've been working on that, working on myself, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much it, what I picked up.
Yeah, I know about the whole, like, in your head, you're thinking a whole nother, like, situation when you go out to the girl. I've had that problem a few times, and I'm like, oh, maybe she's with another dude. But I still end up going up to them.
I heard somebody say once, I've had a lot of terrible things happen to me in my life. And how would they say? A lot of terrible things have happened. I think, but I'm not sure what the phrase, but it was in my head. It all happened up here. It never really happened out there. The terrible things that go on in here, it never occurs out in the real world. So go ahead.
One of the things you tell me too is, like, with females, the greatest, something like about the greatest thing is their mind or the way they think or something like that. Because when you're, I don't know what it is. I don't even know what it is, but
I can't remember.
It's like one of the greatest tricks or something like that is what the girl thinks. Like if maybe she thinks you're messing around with another girl, or
Oh, I think it's what is it? Oh, one of your greatest assets or tools is her imagination.
exactly, yeah.
You never want to tell a girl anything directly because she's not a man. Rob and I can talk directly, logically, but to communicate with a woman, you do it in a covert sort of way. If you want her to stop doing something, you can't just tell her, "I don't want you to do that anymore." You have to, if she does something you don't like, usually this works best. You withdraw your attention when she does things you don't like, because attention is the coin of gold for women, and that's how you get them to do or not. It's a strange thing because men can talk to each other directly and logically, and we'll understand. But with women, you can tell them something over and over and over again, and they'll say yes or okay, but they don't really take it in unless you show them through your lack of attention, or you have to withdraw. It's called a soft next. I think next is what it's called. The hard next is when you walk away, but the soft next is when you withdraw your attention. Let's say you're talking to a girl and you take her out on the weekend, and then you text her, but she starts waiting an hour or two. She doesn't text you back, or so what you have to do, you can't say, "Hey, why don't you text me back? I want you to text me back soon." You withdraw your attention. You back off when she backs off. And that allows her to have some space, and you're not like so needy and always there. But you have to allow her to use it. Well, she'll be thinking, well, what's going on? Maybe he's got another girl. Why isn't he was texting me back right away? Now he's waiting. What's going on here? But you can't say, well, now you're not texting me back for 2 hours, so I'm waiting 2 hours. I could tell Rob that maybe, but not a woman. It's not going to do anything except make you look like a little, I don't want to say the word. I try to keep it cleaner. I better not say that. But anyway,
We'll see.
a weak man. How about that? You guys have any questions for Rob?
So, what's your opinion on, like, let's say you do extract your attention from a girl, but she doesn't text you back?
Oh, that's for me?
Well,
Yeah.
you know
Or
what?
If you're around,
Yes.
yeah.
I don't like to, like, I mean, I really, if I do text a girl and like I don't hear back, like I'll just, if I don't hear anything within a couple days, I'll just send a question mark.
Scared
And I just like do a question mark and just delete it because I don't really like to chase women. Like
it doesn't
I
work.
used to do that, but now I just don't like, if they're not texting me, like I'll maybe just send a question mark or a follow up because sometimes they get busy and forget. But if I don't hear anything back after that, I just kind of delete the number. I just don't like to have the time to chase.
Right. A lot of guys, when a girl doesn't text back, they're like, where are you at? Why even text me back? And that's the quickest way to drive them away when you start that crap. Better off just act like you don't care. Indifference makes the difference with women. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to allow women. Women are like cats. They come and go. You have to allow them to come to you when they want to. You can't force them to come to you.
I was gonna say too. I've noticed a lot with a lot of my friends and even younger friends too. Their friends and everything like that. It's like a epidemic with these guys. They don't know how to go about talking to females. They're confused. They don't know. They're programmed by society to, give her flowers, treat her like a queen, and they get dumped. And then they're asking all these questions like, "What do I do next? What can I do to get her back?" And they need to just what is it, the no contact rule?
No contact.
If you want to have her back, no contact, and at the same time too, start looking into other girls, start talking to other females, move on. Or
And
well,
the value of
that's why I'm always like talking to new girls and getting new leads even when I'm talking to girls, because like that's how I avoid all that stuff. Shit. I used, it's funny you mentioned about the flower shit. I used to be that guy.
I've done that.
Yeah, me too.
The stuff in Hollywood, and it was weird. And it didn't have, and actually, like those relationships went nowhere. And I don't really do, like, I'll do things that are cool, but I don't do shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I remember when I was
there's this one girl that I've been hanging out with for a while. A very sweet girl. That, she, took me out to dinner when I got my book published and shit like that, and really supported me what I do on this channel. And so I made like a little gift card. It's, if you're ever having a bad day, I'll cook you a meal and you get a free full body massage. So use this does not expire.
Yeah, we know where that could lead.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. I tell you, one time when I was about 21, I asked this girl out. She said yes. Talk about flowers. So I went to pick her up, and I took, it was like I don't know if it was a dozen or half a dozen roses. I guess I'd been watching too much TV at that time. And I went there, and she wasn't there. So I get the flowers to her mom. Boy, that was a devastating experience. I felt like quite the idiot. You know, but I think we've all been there with the. That's what they show you on. Now before that, when I was younger, I never did anything like that, but I'd kind of straightened up a little bit, and I thought, well, maybe I never really went out on dates before. I just picked girls up, so I had no experience with dates, so I thought that's what you were supposed to do, and that didn't work out too well. So that cured me of that.
Yeah, you know what I used to do when this is like maybe a high school, but maybe my high school, early college years. I was so afraid to talk to girls. I'd write them like like kind of a romantic letter explaining my interest, man.
Yeah,
Really
I've done that one
over.
too. Yeah, I've done that one too. Yeah, it's amazing how you can switch back and forth. I mean, you know it works, but we're still so influenced by social media, TV, movies, and if that was reality, we probably wouldn't want to watch it. But people watch so much of it, they begin to think that that's the way men and women interact. But it doesn't work.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've seen a lot of movies where this guy, he fawns over the girl, and he gives her whatever she wants, and she just falls in love with him.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work. I've tried that myself too, and I know you've told me about times that you've tried that too. It's just you end up getting played or cheated on or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was the bad boy, when I was getting in trouble in school all the time, and I had all these girls, going for me, and then when I would kind of get in a relationship with one, I would try to be the loving, caring type of person, but I ended up getting, uh, screwed over or whatever happens to be,
Rob, have you read the book "Be the A-Hole That Women Can't Resist"?
I've heard of it, but I have not read that book. Is that
It's
a good one?
It is a good one. Yeah, it's most women would probably think that it's ridiculous, but it's not ridiculous because I've done a lot of that stuff and it does work. And I've done what we're talking about with the flowers and that stuff, and it doesn't work. Women just don't respect a nice guy. Well, did you read No More Mr. Nice Guy?
Yeah, I've read that a couple times.
That's
Actually, one of my mentor I worked with had me listen to that book again after I've already listened to it.
Yeah. I've read it a couple times or listened to it more than once, but that's a good book too, because nice guys finish last with women, but nice women finish first with men. It's just different. We try to treat women the way we want to be treated, but the golden rule does not work with women. It works as far as what I believe, it works in this respect with women. You treat women the way they want to be treated, not the way you want to be treated, because it's completely different. We are different. Men and women are different. Contrary to what this equalism or these people are saying, we're the same. We are not the same. We don't respond to the same things, especially when it comes to attraction and romantic interludes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When it comes to exercising or walking up to like a random girl at the mall or something and like talking to them, well, how do you keep that repetition going? Because a lot of people usually they do it one time and then they stop because of like the fear of rejection. How do you keep something like that going?
Want to answer that, Rob?
Crap. Well, I just keep on going. I have my days too where I, sometimes if I, because I have my periods too where I just go up and like nothing happens and it gets frustrating. I just take a couple breaks and I just push myself to go out and do it again.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get busy and I don't have time to go out but I just say I gotta, hey man, if you really want this, like you're gonna I had to remind myself, if you really want it, you're gonna go out and do it and make it happen. And you just gotta look at the experience as like if she rejects you or if didn't go too well during the interaction. You just got to look at everything as a learning experience and
here's
kind of go back and figure out like, okay, what were the strengths of the conversation, what could have been done differently, and you pretty much, I mean, and also like you just a lot of guys like place women on pedestals. You just got to take the women off the pedestal. They're like, she's human just like us. I mean, she shits,
Exactly.
she pisses, So that's another way you got to look at it, man. Because
A
Because
lot of guys,
a lot of guys, it's like they look at a beautiful woman and like, oh, she's perfect because she's beautiful. Yet she has her flaws too. She may be beautiful, but she can be like nasty inside.
yeah, exactly. I'm sure we've all met women. I know I have that were beautiful, and then the more you talk to them, the less beautiful they became. And I've met other girls that weren't so beautiful, and as you talk to them more, they became more beautiful. So the personality has a lot to do with it. And you talked about approaching people and approaching women and getting rejected. What people don't realize, what men don't realize, is it really has nothing to do with you. She may have just broke up with her boyfriend. Maybe her mom's dying of cancer. Maybe she just got a bad report at the doctor. Maybe she just lost her job.
Yeah,
Maybe she's got a terrible boss. Maybe it's her time of the month. I mean, so
yeah,
there's
yeah.
so
Because
many
you
things.
know what's weird? So like, so one of the mentors I'm working with right now, I don't know if you're familiar with Steve the Dean Williams at all.
No, I don't know him. I don't think.
Yeah, he's well, I've been working with him for like a couple months, and he's very more about being authentic and stuff, and just focusing on the man and everything, and putting because and like not making the game about women, but making it about yourself and everything.
Yeah,
Um, and that's just like, and that's just what you got to do. You got to make it about yourself, man. Like you can't
I
like
agree.
let rejection like get you. And you know what? He has me. One thing when I go up there when I approach a girl, even though she says no, I give her my card. I say, hey, well, if you want to get away from all, if your boyfriend dumps you, give me a call and I'll take you out for a fun and date with me. So I give him a
Right.
card anyways. So
Yeah, you don't have anything to lose.
balls in her court. She wants to talk
Yeah.
to me, she'll talk to me.
Yeah. But it's up to the man to approach. I think a lot of guys are waiting for the woman to approach them. And maybe they think that's going to happen. I'm not saying that will never happen, but maybe they think that's going to happen because we have so much of this, women and men are the same. I see people on some of the threads on Facebook talking about, well, if I take her to Starbucks, who should pay for the coffee? Well, it's my opinion. And you talk about being the man, going back to being the kind of person focused more on what you need to be as a man. If I ask someone out for a date, whether I'm asking them for a coffee or I ask them to fly to Aruba with me, I'm certainly not going to say, I'm going to pay for the coffee. I'll pay for the flight. It's like, now, if you're doing it like some extravagant date just to get her to go, that's different. But if you're going to go anyway and you want a beautiful woman to come with you for coffee or to a Caribbean island, then that's a whole different. It's your motives is what makes the difference there. But as far as this who pays, I guess I'm more traditional. If the man invites someone out, well, if I invited you to lunch, Rob, I'd pay for lunch. It's the same thing. But there's a real dilemma amongst the young men about, well, who should pay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've.
Well, it's weird. Though. I normally I will like to pay, but I've been on some dates where the girls paid. I know normally those are the ones that don't go nowhere. But I did have one time though where I went on a date and the girl paid for her own drinks, and then I ended up taking her home that same night.
Yeah, well, that's, yeah.
So I mean, and sometimes too, like I've had girls just like pay for my drink because I just create a fun atmosphere and vibe for them, and they're like, "Cool, I'll pay for you." I'm right there.
Yeah.
That shows interest too. But I normally would pay on the date, and then sometimes too, like I'll say I'll pay for the first time, and I say, "Well, next round of drinks are on you."
Yeah, that's a good idea there. Yeah. Let's back up to where you talked about your mentor said about just focus more on being the man, and I preach basically the same thing as. You got to focus on your mission first. Women should be secondary or third, even a complement to your life. The Romans, some women, if they listen, they're not going to like this, but Romans used to classify a woman right above a slave. Now that sounds kind of crude, but there's some wisdom and logic in that because if you start pedestalizing a woman, that doesn't work. She does not want to be your number one priority. She does not want to be pedestalized. But a lot of men do that. And we're almost taught that through the movies and Disney and social media that you put the woman up on a pedestal, but they don't. And they may say, some women will say on dating apps, they'll say, I want to be treated like the princess I am or like the queen I am. Well, I guarantee you treat her like the queen, you're going to be treated like a servant. Or what's the other one? You treat her like a star, you'll be treated like a fan. That's just the way it is. They just don't want that. You may think that you would like that if a woman treated you like that. And then the reality is one of a man's emotional needs, if he's in a relationship, is for his woman to put him above everything else. But it doesn't work in reverse for the man to do that to his woman. You do that to her, she'll soon tire of you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You guys got any questions?
I'm trying to think of one right now.
Yeah, same thing with
Can't think
me.
of anything.
Frank?
No, but that's true. Well, I know some guys too just give up. Like, some friends, no one hang out with now, but I remember some guys will give up what they're doing just for a girl and stuff. They'll give up hanging out with their friends just for a girl, and then they'll be
And that's
back
what
a couple
happens.
months
Yeah.
later being miserable.
Well,
They,
then that brings me to my question. What do you think you could say to males like that to prevent them from doing that?
Well, I mean, you can tell them what to do. I mean, you just got to be like, I would just pretty much say, hey, when you get in a relationship, still like be on your path, be on your journey, because that's really gonna help keep the girl attracted to you. Because the girl was, the girl met the guy like there's something about him. Maybe it was like what he was doing that attracted her
exactly.
to him. And when he gives all that up for her, like like she's not gonna like that. But then again, you can only tell people so much. 'Cause, I mean, sometimes you tell people stuff, they don't listen to you.
Right.
Well, see, logically, let's take a scenario, hypothetical scenario. Let's say Brado here was with this girl, and when she met him, he's playing football. On Wednesday, he goes to with his buddies and hangs out at I don't know what, the pool hall. I know there's not a pool hall here. Okay, once they get together and start going steady, let's say, she will say, "Well, why don't you stay home this Wednesday instead of going to the pool hall with your buddies?" Now, logically, a man would think, "Yeah, I'll do that, and she'll appreciate me more." But actually, that's kind of a crap test. She wants to see if she's going to pull you off your path. And then if you do start staying home with her, then she'll say, "Well, do you got to go play that football game tonight? I don't feel good. I need you to stay home with me." And if you stay home with her, that again, her respect will drop each time she pulls you off of what you were doing, like Rob said, when she met you, because it doesn't make sense to us, but that's her way of seeing how easily you are pulled off your path. I guess you could say it goes back to evolutionary programming, because back, let's say in the Stone Age, if you could pull a man away from what he was supposed to do, then the women and children would starve, because he's not out there hunting, he's not out there doing what he's doing. And I don't think women think about this consciously. It's just some way they test to see if the man is strong enough to take care of them or protect them should the need arise. But we forget about all this because in our modern society, men have set up systems where women feel like they don't need men. And honestly, they don't need an individual man. Unless someone breaks in the house, who's going to get up and go down and confront the burglar? I mean, the woman's not going to do it 99% of the time. So she has to weed out the weak guys, and this is how she does it. And the problem is, and I've done this, men get in these relationships, they become complacent. Like she says something about, "I'm going to go out and eat tonight." And you say, "Well, I don't care, wherever you want to go." That's not leading. You have to say, "Okay, let's go out to the steakhouse." And she may even argue with, "I want to go to McDonald's. I want to go to McDonald's." "No, we're going to the steakhouse." And she may even get pissed off about it. But what you can do is say, "Well, I tell you what, let's go to the steakhouse tonight, and then next weekend we can go to McDonald's." But if you bend and go to McDonald's and she's pulled you off of your path, again, these are little tests that you have to be aware of, because they're constantly testing you to make sure you're the man that actually she fell in love with when she met you. People break up with their woman, or the woman drops them, and what's going on? I did everything she wanted me to do. Yeah, you're not the same guy that she met.
Right. No, that's true. Well, unfortunately for me, like I'm focused on myself, so I don't have a problem with that. But I have, and I get comments from girls too. Like, one thing I really like about you is you got all this stuff going on and everything. And no, and yeah, I don't know. It's weird. No one's really tested me about that. Like, "Oh, you should drop doing this." When I tell them I'm doing this, I understand you got to do this. I don't get that too much. I don't think I've gotten that in a while,
Yeah.
but that does happen.
That seems to happen more when you get into a long-term relationship.
Mhm.
Okay, that's
And
probably why.
men become more complacent. I've done it, and
Mhm.
I've talked to other people who've done it. I've helped people who've done it. It's just it's happened to him, and it's really hard to pull things back on course once you allow it to get to where they're disrespecting you, or they're telling you, for example, "I'll be over at 8 tonight." Well, 8 o'clock comes, they're not there. "Where are you?" "Well, I'm running a little late. I'll be there at 9. They start pushing to see. They want to see if you're man enough to put them in their place. Now, that doesn't mean being like a bully or forceful physically, but are you man enough to stand up to her? If you're not man enough to stand up to your woman and say, hey, you know what? This is enough. This is how it's going to be. Comply or goodbye. Then you're not man enough to take care of her in case the shit hits we get the storm in.
Yeah.
Right.
And that, like, speaking of which, you said that I've been through it before. I remember when I was in a relationship, it started off with little things, little disrespect, and then eventually got to a point where, it wasn't completely terrible, but I was watching TV and she came up and just turned it off and started disrespecting me, started getting on me. So I was like, all right, you need to go home. She wouldn't go home.
Yeah, it was.
She wouldn't go home. So I told my dad, I was like, you're gonna have to tell her to go home because she won't. Eventually, my dad told her and everything like that. And then after a while, when we were kind of apart from each other, she started just coming over out of nowhere, unexpected, everything like that. When I told her we needed some space, I guess she was trying to catch me in the act or thought that there was somebody else that I was trying to be with. And then we ended up breaking up. We broke up for 3 months, and then we started talking again, and she was back to her, or I guess when we were together the first time.
And she's a good girl too. I like her, but I think any girl will do that when you become complacent. You just start, whatever you want to do, go wherever they want to go. You're not leading anymore. You're actually following, and women don't want to lead.
Yeah, and that does happen though. Like when you kind of get into something long term, because then because it's like a different situation. So I think the guy thinks he doesn't have to lead, but he's still got to lead.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think they forget about that.
Yeah. Yeah, they become complacent. It's easy to do. You think you're doing everything you're supposed to do, especially in a marriage. Well, I'm going to work. I'm coming home every night. I'm taking care of the family and the kids, but there's more to it than that. Actually, and I've been married a few times, it's actually easier to be single than it is to be married. It's difficult to keep things going.
And another thing I was going to say too is when I was with this girl, there was no excitement. There was no fun. There was no thrill or whatever happens to be. And, women, they love the excitement, anything like that. And they love drama too, every once in a while. But when I was with this girl, I just was regular, it was like just doing everything, going to work, coming home, taking care of her. We would go out and get food or whatever it happened to be. But there was no thrill. There was no excitement. She got bored.
Right.
Yeah, I recently went through that with my girl whenever I broke up with her. Because we were constantly only hanging at her house. It wouldn't be anything else. Not only that, with the disrespect, it was being little. And then they would build up, and I wouldn't notice it because it was so little.
Yeah, you can do anything to a woman except bore her. I mean, if you make her angry, that works because women like the emotions, the ups and downs of the emotions. They don't like this flat line steady like a heart monitor. It's going like this, the relationship's good. If it's going like this, it's dead, just like the heart monitor.
And I've seen a lot too. It's like a lot of women will go back to the guy that's constantly cheating on her, being disrespectful to her, because there's excitement, there's drama,
keeps her emotions.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you can keep a female if you have her emotions going constantly, whatever happens to be sexual, drama. Maybe you're cheating on her or something like that. And I've noticed I have a good amount of female friends, and they're always talking about how, my girlfriend, she won't quit messing with this guy. He keeps cheating on her, but she keeps going back to him because there's excitement there.
Yeah.
There's thrill,
She can't have him. He's a challenge. Women like a challenge.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you can still bring out that excitement in the girls without having to cheat on girls and be mean. You could still be other ways. There's other ways to do it.
Right.
Yeah, you could do anything. Like just one of the main things I want to do is skydiving. I could bring a female to do something like that.
Sounds fun. Actually, that's on my bucket list to do.
Yeah, I want to do that.
That's
bad.
A challenge. That's a life
I always wanted to hang glide, but not skydive. That's not my cup of tea.
It's just the thrill, like the people that skydive, they call them adrenaline junkies, because the adrenaline pumps when you're skydiving and everything like that. But if you're constantly doing something to give your life thrill, adrenaline, whatever happens to be your goals, that's when you have women really coming after you.
Yeah.
If you're constantly doing something for yourself, if you want to chase goals or, everything like that, women will just bombard you.
Yeah, women don't want to be the adventure. They want to be part of the adventure. And what happens many times is they become the adventure for the guy. And as we spoke before, they focus too much on the relationship and the woman, the man does, when in reality, that is the woman's job. She is the keeper of the relationship, so to speak, because women are more relationship orientated than men. And if you find yourself, and I've been there too, thinking more about the relationship or trying to make the relationship work, you're really not in the position as a man in the relationship where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I would say too is like me and you talk about all the time. It's just not constantly caring about them. It's not that you don't care about them. You just don't care.
Right.
You know, if they're not giving you the attention, you're okay. I'm going to go ahead and continue to do my work. If they're trying to get your attention, you're like, okay, well, I still have to do this work, you know?
Yeah, you're not
Yeah, you're
constantly blowing up their phone. And
Yeah,
trying to talk
exactly.
or
Right.
hang out
Yeah,
with them.
smothering them.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. It's like I've noticed a lot with a lot of guys nowadays. They want to, once the girl snaps them, texts them, or anything like that, they want to continue giving them attention. Then they get left on red, which I've had the same thing happen to me. You're sitting there for an hour, you're like, oh, maybe she doesn't like me, and your mind starts, thinking of other things. But if you're constantly focused on your mission, you're not paying so much attention to them.
Right. Yeah, if you got a life, you have to have a life besides your girlfriend. They don't want to be, like I said, back to that. They don't want to be your life, your everything. But you see the movies.
Mhm.
You're everything. My life is nothing without you, honey. Yeah, well, I guarantee you, you go say that to your woman, the clock's ticking to the end.
And speaking like what you were just saying, I've had a lot of people on Snapchat or Instagram too. They're constantly posting their girlfriend. You're my whole life. You're my everything. They'll even write whole
Oh yeah.
paragraphs.
You
Yeah,
know
go
what?
ahead.
It's funny you said that. I had this one guy I used to hang out with back in Michigan. This was the guy who'd always disappear when he'd find a girl and everything.
Yeah.
He was about to get married to a girl. I remember he'd post all this stuff, feeling happy with, I forgot her name, with Amy at so and so, feeling happy doing this, feeling blissful. And then one day, I guess he found out the fiance cheated on him with another guy and stole he got an inheritance from his mom after his mom passed away. And I guess he gave her the information to that account. She stole all the money.
Man. Jeez.
Real beat down.
Yeah.
And he was really pissed off about it, really frustrated, and I mean, that's gonna happen. I mean, not saying it happens. That's just what when you do that, that you're gonna end up lonely again. But hopefully, you don't do it. Someone's gonna steal your money too.
Right. But it happens. You can't invest too much into a woman, and that's what happens. People must invest more in their woman than they invest in themselves. Self-improvement, into their mission, their goals, and you see that the guys that are the most wanted, the top 1 or 2% of the men that the women want, they're not out chasing girls. They're not out chasing women. They're out there chasing their dream. They're building a life for themselves, and she wants to be part of that life that he's building. She doesn't want to be the life, but she wants to be part of his life. And a woman should always be a complement to your life, an asset and not a liability. I've had both. When they're a liability, it just doesn't work too well. It drains you, really. It drains you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I know you got to go, Rob, so we'll cut this off. How can people get a hold of you if they'd like to?
Yeah, cool. They can go to my YouTube channel, Command Your Confidence. So that's just how you can find me on YouTube. Just look for that logo right here. That's my logo.
I'll put the link in the description.
And then you can go to commandyourconfidence.com. I got a ebook that I just recently published called The 5 Pillars of Self-Confidence. It's also the paperback's available on Amazon as well. And I got, I offer coaching for guys who, want to get ahead and stuff in this area. And thank you very much for having me on the show. This is a great topic. I'm glad. It's kind of good to have this big panel here, which is awesome. I'd really like to come on again to do a longer show.
Yeah, usually my daughter's here. She can tell you about how many guys she goes out with, and then after 3 months, they simp out on her, and she can't find a man that will stay a man. It's amazing. Wow. She's only 15, and she has a hard time finding a guy that can not be compliant after about a month or two. They all become the same, so it's difficult for her. All right, well, I guess we'll wrap it up. Thanks again for joining us, and I'll be talking to you soon, Rob.
Yeah, man, I'll be in touch. I'll have to bring you on my channel again, next month or something. I'd like to have you on again.
Sounds good. All right.
Awesome.
Well,
have a good one. Bye.
Take care.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you
too.
All right. Well, that's all we have time for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. And we will be back next Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Smash that like button and subscribe. Check out Rob's YouTube channel and his book. And that's all. I'll see you guys.